Hello everyone, Jen Dubell here for Graphic 45. Today I am creating a little folio waterfall picture album, and I'm going to house it inside this little box. Now, this is an older Graphic 45 staple that is no longer available. However, I will include the measurements in the description on my post so that you can maybe create one of these on your own using Graphic 45's chipboard or another chipboard. It is basic black chipboard, and it all in all measures 5 inches by 5 inches, and then the depth on this is 2 inches when closed. The inside is approximately 2 inches deep as well, about 1 7/8. So what I am using to decorate my box, as well as the little folio album that I will create to put inside, is this beautiful Graphic 45 Elegance collection. This is just a beautiful collection of pink, black, white, kind of a red, and I'm going to be using the 8x8, the 12x12 patterns and solids, as well as some of the journaling cards in the journaling card collection. So let's dive into what I have created here. Now, when I received this box, like I said, it is an older Graphic 45 staple that I bought, and it was in my stash, and I just loved it for this project, so I chose to use it. It also came with several of these, I believe 6, yes, 6 of these 4 3/4, excuse me, 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares of a heavier black cardstock, and the corners are all rounded on that. And I have taken 1 inch hinges scored at 1/2 inch, burnished, and then I rounded the corners, and I've put those in between them to make an accordion, and I will show you that portion in my instructions. For now, let's do the box. I just want to show you how this is embellished. So we're going to have a hidden compartment in this box, and what I've done is I've used the black sheets of Graphic 45 chipboard, and I've cut 2 small pieces, and these are 1 inch by 4 3/4 of an inch, and these are going to go right in the front inside of this box right here. It's going to snug up to here, and that will be for our hidden compartment door to sit on so that it does not sink when you put the album in. So let's just go ahead and put that in. I'm going to use score tape and glue for this so that I make sure I get a really good hold. So we're going to put some score tape on the back side of this piece here. And like I said, I'm going to add some glue as well, just because I want to make sure that this is nice and snug in my box. And it's okay if they overlap. They will peel apart when you remove the top layer. All right, so there we have that piece. Now, before I actually adhere this, I've cut a bottom section. I chose not to line the inside so that it's not too bulky, but I am going to line the bottom of our storage compartment. And this will be a 4 3/4 by 4 3/4 piece of the pink stripe from the patterns and solids. And this we are also going to use a tape runner rather than glue, because it's a little easier to burnish the tape runner on a bottom piece like this. So I'm just going to run this all the way around the outer edge of this square. And then just put a few strips down the middle. And this little hidden compartment will be just adorable, because when you lift the door up, you'll remove the album, lift the door up, and then you can store little trinkets or something inside of the box. And I just thought that was an added way. If you choose not to do the hidden compartment portion, you could choose to make a second one of the folios, and two would fit nicely in here as well. So I'm just going to take a bone folder inside of there and just burnish this out as well as possible. Use my fingers as well. And that will be our bottom of our box. Now for this piece, we just want to burnish down that tape and peel the backing off. And as I said, if they overlap, it will come out when you peel it off. And I'm going to add just a little bit of my art glitter glue for just added adherence, if I can get my glitter glue to work. Just because I want to make sure this piece does not come out. I want to make sure it's nice and sturdy. So I'm just going to put some dots here and there on this as an added security. Then I'm going to place this right in the front portion. So we're just going to slide this in here, butt it all the way up to the front, and just kind of squeeze with your fingers to get that to adhere in there. And you can also stand this up. It's very hard to show on camera. And just run a bone folder along the inside of there and wipe off any excess glue that's inside. So now you have this little lip. So when you place your lid for your compartment, it will not stick to this, and it won't fall in when you try to put something in there. So for the lid itself of the compartment, I have cut a piece again of the black Graphic 45 chipboard. And it is 4 3/4 by 5 3/4, because we have 1 inch of overhang that will be inside of the box. So then I put some score tape on the back here on that flap. The flap was made by using some black, really heavy. Make sure you use a really heavy, sturdy cardstock for this part. This piece here is, which will be in my paper instructions how to actually construct this. But this hinge measures 2 inches by 4 3/4, and it's scored at 1 inch. And then it was placed on that chipboard piece and glued down. Next, I added the inside portion of paper, and I used that same stripe from the Patterns and Solids. Again, 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, 4 5/8 by 4 5/8. And I used a small circle punch on both the chipboard and the paper just to get that notch out of there. On the top, I've used this paper, which is from the 8x8, and this is called Exquisite. And it is 4 5/8 by 4 5/8. It is this sheet here. I've also used black soot distress ink on all of my papers throughout around the edges. So now for this part, we're going to burnish down our score tape that I have over here. And I'm not going to use any glue for this portion. I want this to stay nice and sturdy. And I don't want it to be easy to break the paper. This is why I say when you make your hinge for the door, either use a really lightweight chipboard that can be scored, or a very heavyweight cardstock. That way you don't run a risk of this breaking in time. So for this portion, we have the hinge, the little piece that we put up here. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to put this. So we have the back of the box, and we want to just slide this in here and kind of butt it up to the back. And just use your finger to burnish that all down inside of there. And you can run a bone folder in there as well. Okay, so we've gone ahead. I noticed a little design flaw, and I have gone back and fixed that. I do apologize. So the 2 pieces of chipboard that measure 1 inch by 4 3/4 that go down inside of here to hold your door two do not seem to be enough. So I've gone ahead and doubled that to 4 pieces and together. That holds the door much better. Then I'm going to go ahead just to make sure that this is nice and sturdy with my hinge. And I've cut another piece of the black chipboard at 1 by 4 3/4. And I'm just going to place that in the very back between the bottom and across that hinge that was created for the door. So that will be, hopefully that can be seen in there. So we actually have a total of 4 pieces of the black chipboard here glued together, and then the one back here which will hold down our hinge. So that is how that portion is done, and when this is completed it will sit nicely inside of here, and they can lift this out and lift this up with this little finger notch and hide little things underneath here. Now you could also put dividers in here if you wanted with some more chipboard pieces, or just leave it open for mementos. Either way you like to do that. So let's move on to decorating the top portion of the box and how I did that. So I have cut out of one of the ephemera cards, this one here, I've cut this portion out, and that is what is going to go over this little hole here. And I've just lined it up nicely and then traced around it and cut it where I wanted it. So we're just going to add, and you won't see the back of it because we're going to place another piece on the inside. So I'm just going to add my glue around the outer edge of this. Not too much glue because I don't want it to seep into that hole. And I want enough glue though so that it slides around so I can see it. We're just gonna, whoops, I put that on there upside down. See, this is why I use glue for this kind of thing. Make sure you put it on there right side up. And then just move it around to where it lines up nicely. Nice and straight. And then I am going to clean off my excess glue from there. Now that I know that is burnished down, clean any glue. Just going to use my fingernail, make sure there's no extra glue in here. I am going to be adding some flowers and embellishments, some fussy cuts to the cover of this. So if there's a little bit of glue, it's not going to show. So then we're going to go and place this is from the Patterns and Solids, and it is a black and white sheet that is white on the other side. And we'll be using both sides of this throughout this little project. And I'm just going to go around and ink my edges. I'm going to use the black side of this to match my album. Just going to ink that up, and then I am going to make sure that it fits. Sometimes cutting guides are not always perfect. So this is going to be 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. And like I said, this was cut from the Patterns and Solids 12 by 12. And we're just going to place that on there. And this will cover up the backing of our ephemera card that was used for the sentiment. And you don't want to burnish too hard in the middle because there is a space there. And you don't want to bend your paper. So just kind of feel for that framing as you're doing this and wipe off any excess. I also do not suggest placing anything over this. You can. I am not going to. I want to make sure that my magnet stays nice and neat. So next I'm going to move to the sides here. And this will fall out when it's upside down. So we are going to take 2 sheets. These are cut from the 8x8 Lovely side A, and they are 4 7/8 by 1 7/8, and they've been inked with the black soot distress ink. This is going to be our front panel and our back panel of the box. So we're just going to put that on here. Straighten it up as good as we can. And burnish it down, wiping off any excess glue. And these boxes, if you're using a pre-made one, they come kind of rounded. And so I would then suggest that you use your bone folder to just kind of get that chipboard to work its way around the edges. Flip to one of the sides. Again, this is from the Patterns and Solids, but we're going to use the flip side, which is the white side. And I have taken a strip from the sheet in the 8x8 that is called Delightful. And I've taken this strip down here that says Elegance, along with the pink across the bottom. And I've cut 2 of those out of the 3 sheets that you receive. And I've put those in the middle of this white paper that also measures 4 7/8 by 1 7/8. And these will be our side panels of the box. Add our glue. And we're going to just butt that right up to that corner. Get it nice and straight and even. And then we can push it down with, I like to use a cloth to push mine down before I use a bone folder. It helps get that excess glue out of there a little bit easier, and also does not make for a great big huge mess. And I'm going to take a smaller bone folder. Like I said, this box is very rounded. If you've had to create your own, then it's possible yours will be more square. But because my box is a little rounded, I want to burnish around it so that it works that chipboard around. So there's one side and our front. Next, we will go to this side and do the same. Just going to glue it down. And you can do this with any paper collection. I just absolutely love this Elegance collection, and I will probably be giving this as a gift. And therefore, I thought this was perfect for the person that I am giving it to. But this is not a difficult project. And like I said, it can be used with any of the amazing Graphic 45 collections that are out there. And I will do one more panel, which is our back panel, again with that one. And we will just add our glue. Got a little much there. I like to make sure that my patterned paper all is going the same direction before adhering it. Looks like I might have got that one a little smaller. All right, so there's our box for that portion. Last, but definitely not least, we are going to put a cover frame. Now for this, I've again cut out a piece of paper, and this is the other side of Lovely. The stripes, and it's this side here. And it is, or excuse me, you know what, I'm not sure if that is, yes, it is 5 by 5, and it is the B side of Lovely. So it was cut to actually measure 5 inches by 5 inches, and then it was trimmed down. So depending on what size of a box you use or buy or create yourself, you will have to trace around this hole. If you're going to have a hole in yours, or you have this box in your stash, which I'm sure a lot of Graphic 45 lovers have, then you can cut it to my measurements exactly. So we are just going to put that just going to burnish all that down nicely. Go around those rounded edges, and that is how I have assembled my box. Pretty simple. And again, like I said, it will house this fun little album on the inside, and that adorable little compartment that opens in the bottom to put things. So that is my quick tutorial on how to put together the album, or excuse me, the box